Welcome to Dropping Dimes this week here on Collider Sports. I think this is dropping on the Collider podcast feed now, something along those lines. But welcome back to Dropping Dimes. We did not get cut. We are here providing more basketball content for you, and I am joined the first time this season by the lovely and talented Mr. Mark Ellis.
We taped this before the season started, just so everybody knows. This is just us kind of guessing what has happened for the first almost half of the NBA season.
Yeah, the prognostication level is pretty impressive.
Can I just tell you how disappointed I know you got to feel the same way about this, is that because last Christmas, okay, so this is a little over a year ago, I'm watching basketball all day, NBA, on ESPN,
Sure.
and I get treated to the greatest trailer my eyes have ever seen. The Chicago Bulls documentary that's in like 10 parts or whatever, coming out in 2020. I see that and I say, oh my God, not only me, my good friend Matt Knost, who's a huge Bulls fan, he cannot wait to see this. And in my head, I'm thinking, hey, 2020 is around the corner. They're going to drop this thing in January. We're not getting it till June? What?
It's been this long in the making.
I had to survive a whole year thinking I was going to get to see it by now.
I think you'll make it till June. It's been
I don't know.
It's been 20 years. You're telling me you can't wait another 5 months?
They dropped a trailer over a year ahead of time, Matt.
Listen, I'm amazed it's gotten this far.
Are you excited about it, though?
If they actually answer and get into the fucking meat of this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one burning question that you need to leave that documentary series having had the answer to?
There's a lot of questions, a lot of, okay, how much gambling was he doing during the finals when he was in Atlantic City being seen?
It's a good one.
Was he there till 4, 5, 6 in the morning like everybody, like the witnesses have stated? Was it actually longer?
So you want to see Jordan talk about this? You don't just want the speculation or people who, oh no, my friend was at Trump Tower that night. You want Jordan.
There's also, I've read things where the flu game wasn't the flu and it was food poisoning.
Well, yeah, he had Gator Load instead of Gatorade.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Gator Load?
It used to be a thing that like weightlifters would do, where it just shuttles a crap ton of, I think, like carbs or something into your system right before you go try to do like a heavy lift, like if you're doing like squats or bench press. And so they had Gator Load, and then they had Gatorade, and Jordan was under the weather. I don't know if he had the flu, but he was under the weather anyway. He wasn't feeling good. And so somebody gave him something to drink, and they said it was Gatorade, but instead he got Gator Load. It's the same thing that happened when Makuga poisoned me with hot sauce, where he thought he was just giving me Texas Pete, and he was giving me like the hottest hot sauce on earth. So you drink it, and ramifications happen.
Why were you drinking hot sauce?
Look, Matt, you're asking the wrong kind of question.
Is that going to be in the documentary? I hope so. Maybe that's the delay on June. They had to wait for your asshole to quiet down just a little bit.
Well, talk to the Cedars-Sinai emergency room about that.
That's where you had to go?
No, we went to St. Joe's in the Valley. This was
legit had to go.
So a couple years ago. Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
No.
So
I'm sorry. Your health updates elude me. I'm sorry. I don't get
sign
those.
Sign up for the free text.
Is that a special tier on Patreon?
You get a daily update as to how Mark's feeling. So Jeremy Johns was filming his show that he used to do with Collider.
Yeah.
And him and I had this show where we'd do like stupid movie games where we'd get asked some trivia, and then we would have to do like dumb stunts if we got it wrong. And there was one where it was like you have to do a shot of a mystery thing. And so sometimes it'd be like mustard, or it'd be like vinegar. Just something gross. Not always alcohol.
Not
but
fear factor gross, but gross
just random,
nonetheless.
whatever we had in the Collider kitchen at that time.
Yeah.
And so these geniuses, Makuga and whoever else was behind the scenes, they loved the reaction that Jeremy and I gave every time we did something that was hard, because it's funny that whatever.
Yeah, to see someone in pain.
Puts hot sauce in there, but he took Magnum, I think it's called Magnum 357. And it's like some of the hottest stuff on earth. And he thought it was just like, run of the mill.
Yeah, but it's Scoville units or 20 times what
Jeremy
regular.
and I both just get on the floor, and we are wrecked.
Well, at the end of the show, we're doing the Ghost Pepper Challenge. So get ready, Patreon, for that next update.
That's right. That is a great idea for Patreon. It's like every month Mark will do a super hot shot of something, and we see if he dies.
Well, I think they'll find out.
Risking life or limb.
Long before the Patreon exclusive drops, whether or not you died.
All about doing it live, Matt. It's like watching the NBA. It's like you could hear about it in a week, and that's nice, but you want to watch that action live.
You do, and that's a nice tie-in right back into. That's
what
why
I'm
you're
here
a professional.
That's what I'm here for.
One of the best. One of the game's best. Right here.
As you would have gotten the text this morning, Mark is healthy and ready to go.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll have to sign up for that. Do you also put out like kitten facts with as well? Do I get daily?
You get a daily update about how Molly, the Wonder Dog's doing. You know,
I've never seen
good.
a dog.
Did she poop this morning?
Did she poop?
Yeah.
You guys have the same eyes, which is impressive.
I think we have the same face. I wouldn't limit it to eyes. I think we
well, they
pretty
normally
much have
say
the same.
dog and dog owners look similar, so people
Yeah.
gravitate towards buying a dog that kind of looks similar to them.
I didn't buy the dog. I dated her mom, and then Molly just kind of came along. And then after a while, it's like, well, I mean, you're cool too, Danny, but this dog and I really have a connection. So that's how I became the dog stepfather, which is the new comedy special available on YouTube. You can stream it right now for free after you listen to the show.
For sure. And
See
that's
how
what
I do
on
that?
All Things Comedy.
All Things Comedy produced it, had some really big names chip in and help out, get this thing made. We taped it in the Bulls'
Chicago.
hometown of
Yes.
Chicago, Illinois. Yeah.
In a great venue right there in Chicago.
The venue was great. The evening
Yes, wasn't
and
as
downs.
successful as one would have hoped.
But the crew working on it, including Cody Hall, is engineering this baby right now. They did a great job in post production and everything. It's smooth, it's seamless. I'm really really proud of it. A lot of people have watched it and given me great response on it. So unlike the Bulls documentary, you can go watch it.
Well, my favorite was, and this has nothing to do with the show, but I saw the second show, and the two dudes in the front that wouldn't shut up,
Yeah.
and you held it. You held it until the very end, and you're like, fellas, adios.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to do something up here, and you're just nonstop.
Because I knew my closing story, which got a little drowned out the first show, it got drowned out because the band started playing next door. And I knew that we had the post-production kind of wizardry. We could take it because the crowd really liked the story. They really responded to it well.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a little worried about the audio.
Exactly. You have that in the back of your mind.
So I'm setting up and I'm prepared for this thing. And these guys, I'm like, okay, we just need to take a break and we need to get you all out of here so I can tell this goddamn story.
You did it as professionally as you could without blowing your top.
That
by
means
saying,
a lot coming from you.
Well, just in the gentlemen, either shut up or leave. Those are your two options because I've basically dealt with it. And if you weren't because we've all had those moments,
right,
where you let it go and you let it go and you let it go and eventually be like, guys, what are we doing here? Are you here to watch the show or are you here to just jabber between the two of you?
Taping the thing, and then come to find out after the show, they were drinking next door at the Reggie's bar. Until it was like last call, and so they were kind of leaving at the same time. A lot of our faction had wrapped production and was going downstairs. So a couple of the crew, they came up to them. They're like, "Hey, we're big fans of y'all from Col," and I was like, "How are you big fan? But you're just stoning me." Well, for the half at least of the second show, it was mind-boggling. But the rest of the crowd in that second show more than made up for it.
It's equivalent to the drunk person that's in the crowd and they're basically thinking they're helping, and just like you're not. You're just throwing monkey wrenches left and right in here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Or you or anyone should be good enough to handle it.
Yeah.
But it's just like you're not helping as much as you think you are.
I had that again in Chicago a couple years before the special, I guess. I was at Zany's, the downtown Zany's club. Great crowd, and there was this guy who just kept yelling, "Baby carrots!" during jokes and stuff. And so you know that he's a fan. But it's also like, dude, first of all, most of these other people, even if they've heard of me, they don't know what baby carrots means.
So this sounds like the weirdest heckle of all time.
But they're always, they're always apologetic. 90% of the time, they're very apologetic afterwards. So, and this dude and his brother, they were twins, and they were like 6'5". It was like the Gronkowskis. Like they come out afterwards, but they were so nice, so apologetic, hammered, but nice and apologetic. And then you're like, hey guys, just all I ask is that you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah,
and you do better
forward.
the next time.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
If you want to yell baby carrots, do it once. That way I understand. Hey, big fan.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we move forward. Just enjoy the show.
And if you
paid money.
Do that before I actually go on stage. Even better.
Even better. But get it out of the way early.
Yeah. It's like I've been doing this for 15 years, Matt. I don't want for confidence when I get up there. When I'm like about to do my first joke and I'm like, I wonder if anybody even knows what my nickname is. I'm so depressed it's like, no, I know how to do the job.
Well, but given
I need that extra
the
burst.
inside baseball that we know, there are some comics that we know that are so utterly insecure that they would be thriving on that. At least that dude knows me.
That's true.
That dude is a big fan.
That's right. We do have a lot of friends in this business.
Yes, and it's surprising how many of them are just fatally unsecure.
They just need the love.
They do.
They need the love, and they go to social media for it.
There's nothing wrong with that. We all do it. Apparently, our parents didn't hug us enough or whatever the case is.
No, that's right. Our parents didn't email us from AOL.com accounts enough.
Just wanting to catch the ire.
Just wanted to.
One more time? Why not? That's something that those at home have no idea.
No, I probably won't know about that for a couple weeks.
All right, well, let's jump into a little basketball talk.
How has your NBA season been going? Just as from a fan standpoint, how do you rank this season?
Great. Excellent.
It's odd to me because I've had the same impression of it. I'm enjoying all the storylines, and in the time and age we live in, it's weird that the NBA in-season storylines match the off-season and who's going where and all that stuff. But I've enjoyed it. I have a number of different conspiracy theories as to why viewership has been down, but I think most of it is just the way that we digest our media. I don't think that the tracking numbers have totally
100%.
caught up to that yet. I think people are invested in the NBA as they have been the last, I'll say, since Jordan retired.
The metrics by which I think we need to judge sports going forward, you have to take into account like the social media aspect.
Sure.
Because NBA gets more traction than any other sport because of all the shareable clips and all the discussion with the offseason and everything like that. But there are pregame shows that do streaming on Twitter that do a couple million. Mm-hmm. And it's just a pregame show. There's one with Perkins and somebody else. And some random game when everybody's talking about the bad ratings, they did like 2 million.
Big Smooth?
No, it was
Sam Perkins?
It was no. Kendrick.
I want to see.
No, it was Kendrick, one of the talking heads.
Kendrick Who would have thought?
I know, of all people.
He is a great talking head.
Oh, there's a great story from, if you listen to Zach Lowe's podcast, Low Post.
Yeah.
Where he had Steven Adams on. And there was a practice when Adams was either a rook or a sophomore, but I think he was a rook. And Perkins yelled at him like, "I'm the only silverback here," which is a great line. It is a great line, but I guess the strength and conditioning coach or somebody came over to him and told Adams within earshot of Perkins, "Yeah, but silverbacks have the smallest cranks." It's a great little comeback that you want to throw back in. But I mean, I never anticipated Perkins being good on television like this.
No.
I never thought about it, I guess.
He just seemed like a guy who didn't necessarily want that life for himself. Like a Charles Oakley. Like, I'm just going to retire and be personal security for a very famous NBA player that I happen to jive with. But it's like the fact that Perk is so good on TV, I find him so entertaining. I find a lot of these shows, but to your point, it's like you can digest the NBA. You and I were talking about Steve Kerr getting ejected.
Yeah, getting booted.
And I didn't see the game. I didn't see the Warriors-Kings game, but I just watched the biggest highlight of that game on my computer.
Oh, yeah, you can find
after the fact. So there's people still care about this stuff, even if they're not sitting down and watching the game start to finish like our poppies did.
And plus, too, you're coming up against the end of the football season, and the NBA season starts when baseball is at the World Series. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot competing for. Basically, everybody waits for Christmas, and then after Christmas, the tepid average fan begins to pay attention.
The NBA starts the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think, honestly, post All-Star break is when people really start paying attention.
And hopefully that's when we get I'm just so interested in – because the Pelicans have played better than I thought they would, not having this stud of stud that they drafted. But
who's coming back?
Oh, man. Once he is probably – you can see Adam Silver just behind the scenes. Don't come back until the day after the Super Bowl, and then just give us that boost that we need.
Well, they scheduled the Pelicans with so many national TV games before he went down because he's such a draw.
Yeah,
but they've been playing better. Lonzo's been really good as of late since he's been put back into the starting lineup.
Defensively, he looks very solid.
Yeah, they should have. Brandon Ingram was fouled by Gobert last night, and he should have gotten his 2 foul shots and taken it to OT if he had made them. And but they're competitive. Ingram has made a jump. He looks legitimate now.
Yeah.
And if Lonzo can continue this trajectory, then you add Zion to this mix. Maybe they won't be shipping out J.J. Redick come February 5th, 6th. I can't remember when the trade deadline
It's
is.
just, I mean, that's one of the reasons, because I pay for the league pass every year, and it's like every so often you just have to look at your bank account and be like, okay, why am I doing this to myself again? That was the biggest reason, because I'm not going to get I knew there was going to be a lot of Pelicans games on national TV, but I kind of just want to, on an off night, if I'm not working on a Wednesday night somewhere, I want to catch the Pelicans play. So I want to see Lonzo, and I want to see Zion, and I want to see what that dynamic looks like. Are we looking at Gary Payton and Sean Kemp in their prime again? I want to see that kind of stuff.
Interesting. I think, that's a decent comp, although Peyton to Lonzo is the bigger stretch.
Yes.
But
I'm not thinking about Gary Payton as the glove and the leader and the trash talk and all that stuff. I'm thinking about him throwing
just lobbing to Rainmaker.
It was pretty exciting stuff.
It is. But overall, I think this season, I mean, as evidenced by OKC, I wrote them off just like everybody else did.
Right.
And Chris Paul, since the middle of November, I think it is, they're like 13-4, like the 4th best record in the league.
Which as a Chris Paul apologist that I love seeing.
Well, of course, as a Demon Deacon.
As a fellow Demon Deacon, me and my dear friend Chris Paul, but like everybody kind of wrote him off, and I don't want to say that I was like flying the bandwagon for the Thunder are going to be great this year, but I know that he's rubbed teammates the wrong way with his unique brand of leadership. But I still love, if you put somebody on the court, I love how competitive Chris Paul plays. And I think that there is a group of teams or players that will respond to that leadership. And maybe it is the fact that there isn't some other huge alpha, there isn't some marquee star playing in Oklahoma City. Are they going to win the championship? No. But Chris Paul has made that or continued to make that team relevant in a small market that does care about its team.
And they have something like 15 first-round picks over the next 5 years.
Right.
They just have an amazing stockpile of assets, and you couple that with, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks legit. If Gallinari can stay healthy, although he's expiring, so I still think Presti will trade him to get something for him, unless they think signing him to another 2-year deal makes sense. Atlanta was flirting around on Steven Adams. Now they've moved on to maybe Drummond. But if you keep Steven Adams and then just like all these picks coming in, you guys could still be playoff bound and then just retooling with great draft pick after great draft pick.
What's your take on Presti? Do you think that he's just been far too maligned for kind of breaking up that triumvirate that he had? Do you think that it's a younger guy making mistakes when you had?
I think it was an edict from ownership saying we're not going to pay a luxury tax, so ship James Harden out.
I don't know that Presti wasn't complicit in that, but I do think that it's somebody who is like, look, it's hard to anticipate just the beast that Harden was going to grow into, and I don't know that he ever does grow into that.
He doesn't, because he's going to continue to run the second unit.
With Westbrook and with Durant there,
Yeah, so who knows if he would have blossomed into the caliber player that he is. And
so I still think Presti's a great mind is the point in this game. And if you give that guy a lot of draft picks and you the big thing with Chris now is to accept your role in the future as the ushering the next generation of player, being that mentor. Can he cede some of that power to whoever they do draft that comes in that he's trying to be the mentor for?
Point guard is Shai Gilgeous, and that's who he should be grooming. And it looks like those two actually genuinely have really great chemistry, and they like one another.
Right.
Because there's like an in the first half shot from like a week ago or something, and he shoots it up, and Chris Paul does. But Shai is across in the corner of the three, and he starts dancing as soon as the ball leaves Chris Paul's hands, because he's just like, hell yeah, like that's going in. I love my buddy type of thing. And he ran straight over to him and high-fived him and whatnot. It's just like they genuinely have some sort of connection. Yeah. Hopefully it works out for him.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that they didn't have to bottom out, and they still maintain all this flexibility going forward, especially for the OKC fans, because I know, Brandon Vestal?
Oh, yeah.
He's honestly, the gallows in his eyes about this season, just like, oh, God. He still can't say the word Kevin Durant, that name around him.
Right.
It's brutal. So for those OKC fans, it's like, look, the light at the end of the tunnel is bright.
Yeah, who were such great fans that they literally, you don't blame them for what happened in Seattle, but it's like they were such great fans, and they were such a nice, welcoming committee while Hurricane Katrina aftermath was going on, and they welcomed in a team from New Orleans who they had no business rooting for, but they took them in like they're one of their own. And I feel like they deserved a franchise, not uprooting the Sonics, but I feel like that they had proven enough to earn an NBA franchise from some location.
I would assume expansion into Seattle and to Vegas, and add 2 more teams, and then do a little conference realignment, like push Memphis over to the East because that makes more sense.
Well, what's really exciting about this news this morning is that they are tinkering with possibly doing some sort of realignment for the playoffs.
They floated that with that midseason tournament. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
I was, Matt, I saw it and I initially got excited, and by the time I was done reading it, I was like, wait. What?
You have to figure out some sort of incentive base, but it could be interesting. But reseeding, I think they should do a full reseed across. So the number 1 seed gets to play the worst, the number 1 overall. So whoever has the best record in each conference, they get to play the worst from either conference.
So, I mean, we know what this is leading towards, potentially, is that this could be we'll see how the Bucks do with the rest of the season. But if you're looking at possibly them wanting to have the 2 LA teams playing in the NBA Finals instead of meeting in the Western Conference Finals.
Ratings would be huge.
I just don't want the basketball gods to deny us that. I'm not saying we got to do the realignment now this season, but I really want to see a 7-game series. It can even be in the semifinals. I don't care. I want to see the Lakers versus the Clippers in a 7-game series this year, and I want both teams to be healthy.
Yeah,
that's too much to ask.
If they're both healthy, then that's Western Conference Finals right there.
AD is going to be fine. It looked bad.
It looked
bad at the time.
It's just a contusion.
I'm not saying
broken.
I'd be walking today.
No, I'm
not saying I'd be showing up for this today.
I've bruised my tailbone before. It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts like hell.
I bet you did it skiing, didn't you?
No.
You and your highfalutin Aspen lifestyle.
No.
Was it playing ball?
I think that was playing basketball.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I saw a friend of mine break his tailbone playing football. He just got pushed down. It was like one of those things. He was a starting center, and he just got pushed back hard enough and just landed, and it fractured his...
Shattered his ass.
It didn't shatter. It fractured. So there's a difference of breaking and fracturing. So there's, it wasn't like he was out forever and all that stuff.
Broke my hand in 3 places, deflecting a pass from our dear friend John Cheeser. There it is.
For those that know, my picky does that now from basketball. Do you see Embiid's?
No, I haven't.
Look, as a guy that has dislocated 2 fingers from playing, but don't. His I think his left ring finger goes about 40 to 45 degrees to the left.
Okay, it's right here. I'm going to
go ahead and watch it.
I'm watching the ad, but I want you to tell the viewer at home what I'm about to see.
It is so painful. And then I've seen reaction videos of his teammates that look over and see it, and they're like, "Oh!"
Remember when that kid for Louisville got hurt?
Oh yeah.
And he broke his leg like totally the wrong way, and you saw everybody in the Louisville. The other Louisville players were throwing up.
Oh, it was like Hayward's broken leg at the start of last season. You could see his teammates and all the other players walked away.
All right, that's just Joel Embiid talking about it. So
here, you want me to send you the clip? I can find it.
Send me the clip. I need to see this. Sorry to the listener at home, but. I think this says here he's out against the Celtics. How long are you anticipating him being out for? Which, again, I know it really hurts your finger. That sucks. Joel Embiid getting rest, however you can get it, getting some sort of load management, even if it's from a finger injury, is not the worst thing in the world to happen at this point in the season to the Sixers.
I don't know. It looks bad. There's going to be a ton of inflammation.
That's the worst. When like you're playing like basketball and you just catch a pass wrong and you jam your finger and it's just like my whole day is ruined. I had plans after this. I was going to go do a set, maybe have a drink with a young lady, probably not in my personal case, but other people's. And it's like now your finger is just going to be a shit show for the next week, and that's always very disappointing to hear.
Where is this? Come on.
This is great radio, Matt.
This is great radio. I'll send it to you later.
This is.
All right, well, let's move on to the topics of the day.
Oh, we have topics?
Since we already kibitzed for about 25 minutes.
Yeah, I was just kibitzing. I was just trying to keep...
Not a problem. We started off talking a little comedy. You're special.
I haven't seen you in a minute.
Two jerks in the front. Yeah, it's good to be here. I don't know. It's a...
L.A. Clippers
playoff. It was
shirt. Okay.
a $1 shirt at Goodwill.
Okay, everybody's yelling at their phones right now. So, first topic.
First topic is basically I sent you this topic along with a bunch of stats that I found, and then I found even more stats because it's utterly incredible. And my only question to you is, can anyone stop the Bucks? Now, for those listening at home, I will rattle off all the stats that I sent you. It is a laundry list of why Why is it such a simple question and yet it's complex?
I'll give him the one stat that I knew before Matt sent me this, and that was 32-6.
32-6. Okay.
Which is not a bad stat to kick off with. That's their record.
That is their record. It's an an 842 win percentage as right now. If you project out for the season, that's 69 wins.
Yeah, the Lake Show right now is 9-7 against, or 10-7 now against opponents better than 500. So they've already lost more games against opponents over 500 than the Bucks have lost.
Yeah, total. The Bucks have only lost to Miami, that was without Butler, Boston, Utah, the Mavs without Luka, the 76ers, but they were without Bledsoe.
Mavs without Luka, that's right.
Yeah. Porzingis came in, had a good game. And then the Spurs on almost a back-to-back. They played one in Milwaukee, and then 2 days later played in San Antonio, and they lost the one in San Antonio, I believe. But here are all the stats. So this is all if they're rated in first through third, and that's it. That's my cutoff, because if you want to go top 10, then basically they're in every statistical category by and large.
Sure.
But in first through third, so offensive rating, 113.8. So they're scoring 113.8 on average. That's third in the league. Defensive rating, they're giving up 102.5, first in the league. Net rating, the difference between the two, it's 11.3, first in the league. Pace, that's 104.4 possessions per 48 minutes, first in the league. Effective field goal percentage, 55.8, first in the league. True shooting, 58.6, first in the league. Strength of schedule, 11.03, first in the league. Opponent's effective field goal percentage, 49%, first in the league. Fast break points, 18.7, first in the league. Points in the paint, 51.2 per game, third in the league. Opponent's second chance points, they're limiting other teams to 11 points, first in the league. Opponent's points in the paint, 37.8, first in the league. Team field goal percentage, they're 48.1, which is second, but they're only a tenth of a point behind the Lakers in first, so that's second. Opponent's effective field goal percentage, opponent's field goal percentage at the rim is 51.7. That is first by a wide margin. And if you go further beyond that, they, by stats, have the three best rim protectors at 1, 2, and 3 per minimum 100 possessions at the rim, which is Giannis, Lopez, and Lopez.
Right. So we should probably at this point apologize to any listener that is not a droid for throwing that many stats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's ridiculous.
When you and I were chatting about doing the show, and I see all these stats, the thing that jumps out to me is that at the beginning of the season, maybe I'm a dummy. I did not know how fast the Bucks were going to play. I did not realize that their pace of play was going to be as quick as it is. And so when you factor in how fast they're able to play with the things like their team field goal percentage being as close to number one as you can possibly get, and these kind of things, it's like I see stats and I think that's the mark of a good team, but the fact that they have that stat and they're both at the top of the NBA, it's scary good.
It's 1 through 3 on, I mean, that's a list, and I stopped after that because there were so many others. Like they're fifth here, they're sixth here, they're fourth here. I'd just be reading Basketball Reference.
And I know they play in the East. I don't care. I don't care if they're playing against Division I teams. These numbers
this year there is actual parity, closer to parity within the two conferences.
Yeah.
First time in forever. And Griff, who I had on. Eric Griffin, he was saying that he doesn't believe in the previous 20 years of the West has been dominant, even though all the numbers stack up to. Look at the West has won 50-some-odd% of these matchups. They have been dominant. This year, I think you could definitely make a case where right now the Spurs have a sub-5, and they're in the 8th spot, and so does Orlando in the 8th spot. Actually, the Nets may as well. I haven't looked at the standings since 2 days ago. But that being said, the top 6 in each, they're all competitive. Whereas previous years, the East has been, okay, there's 3 teams, 4 teams, and then after that, it's like it's a crapshoot. Who's going to run up? And actually, the East has 6 legit teams.
Yeah, I mean, the teams that really surprised me in the East are the Heat, because the Heat had a nice run at the end of last year, and so that they can at least show some promise. But the fact that the Raptors have been able to continue, they are NBA champions, and they all are playing like it, even though the guy that made them NBA champions left for the other coach. That's an impressive job.
They had a G League team on the court last night, or was it 2 nights ago, where all the guys were former G League players. It just that's on the court, and they're winning those possessions. I think they went 8-0, or they went up an 8-0 run, while that squad was like a Boucher has been lights out. It's just like I had never heard that guy until he blew up. I think it was against the Lakers very early on in the season.
Right.
It's like, who the hell is this guy? And they just keep managing to mine the depths of G League and second rounders and everything like that to get all these guys that just plug and play. Who do you need? Boom, I got another big guy that can run up and down. It's like, this is so vastly. And then the Pacers, Oladipo is now slated to come back in the beginning of February. I believe it's against the Bulls is where he's projecting to come back. But they're in the mix. They're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that was going to be one of the questions I asked you is who comes back first, Oladipo or Zion? And that was almost my question that I had 2 weeks ago, and now all the tea leaves are kind of reading towards Oladipo coming back first. But if he comes back, you talk about two players coming back and giving your team who is already outperforming itself, giving them another boost. But it all leads back to the question that even if you're talking about the Celtics, is anybody, or the Sixers, is anybody going to be able to give the Bucks
a run for their money
in the Eastern Conference? And I don't see that happening. And it's not a discredit to any other Eastern Conference teams necessarily. There's some bad teams at the bottom, but it's just that the Bucks just look that good.
I think the only team. Okay, so the Sixers have good enough defense to stifle them. The problem is, and I love it because Elton Brand has come out and said that. Well, he hadn't said, but it's been reported that they're going to be looking for a playmaker at the trade deadline. It's like, well, you had him in Jimmy Butler. And that was my question about them coming in. It's like, in the playoffs, you reverted to, hey, Jimmy, run the offense. We'll put Simmons down at the dunker spot, and we'll figure it out. Yeah, you need that again because, as evidenced by the skill set you have. I think Boston could create interesting matchups, but if Giannis, who's now shooting like 33% from three, if he can continue this to where he's made more threes now, 30-some-odd games into the season than he did all of last season. Like, so if he can continue to increase his three-point percentage, and that team is already a pretty good three-point shooting team, I don't know what you do.
Yeah,
because they're great defenders.
I mean, I look at these teams in the Eastern Conference, and it's almost like the San Antonio Spurs on an off year, maybe like right after like Duncan or somebody retired, where you knew because they have such a good coach and such a good team setup that they're going to be competitive. But once they get into the playoffs, it's just you just get overmatched against talent. And I think that is going to I think the Celtics or the 76ers on any given night can beat the Bucks. True. That's why the beauty of playoff basketball is that it really eventually you have to say who's going to beat me 4 times. And the only teams that I see capable of doing that are in the city where we're currently broadcasting.
Well, I don't know because last year the Bucks crushed the East, and then it got to the playoffs, and it was kind of Giannis, you got to do everything because Middleton played well against the Celtics. He seems to always play well against the Celtics, but he faltered
he
against
disappeared.
Other teams. And if Middleton isn't going to be your running mate, you can't really rely on Bledsoe. So who else? Like, you got to go further down the line. So my guess is they go after somebody in either the buyout market or make a trade. But they need another. They need either Middleton to become a legitimate Pippen, and just that dude is, just as golden as Giannis for what he does. Like, it's a 19-8. He always gives us 19-8. Doesn't matter.
Middleton in the playoffs last year, it's a little confounding because you want to go on the history of the NBA and say, well, everybody needs to have that lick your wounds season where you go up against great competition, which you saw, Jordan going up against the Pistons or whoever else it is on down the line. The way that Middleton looks, I think he could get into that role, but again, here's the other thing about a guy like Middleton or even a guy like Bledsoe is that if you have a couple easy rounds in the playoffs format as it's currently situated. Let's forget about the potential reseeding. So if you're going up and you are the Milwaukee Bucks and it was either you or the Raptors last year, it's you this year going into the playoffs, and you have all that confidence on whoever 8 seed was unfortunate enough to play you in the first round, and then you start feeling confident in the way your system's going. I could see that carrying over until you get into the championship round where, again, that's where the role player, which we even saw in last year's NBA Finals, where role players had a much bigger impact than you could have possibly have predicted.
Yeah, Toronto up until, that Sixers series where it was a quadruple bounce that, eventually went in for Kawhi. Yeah. The rest of that team did not. They were deferring to Kawhi the entire game. They did not want to take the shots. And then after that, they all got hot. I mean, Siakam still, he
I was
give
going to
you
say Lowry, Siakam.
Van Vliet.
Yeah.
It was suddenly just like, okay, Siakam, one night he gives you 28, the next night he gave you 9 in the finals, like he was doing that still, but it didn't matter. Van Vliet had a huge game. Lowry had a huge game. Ibaka stepped up. Gasol was big. And
It's almost like they were wrestlers backstage and they just had to look at who's going to be the hero tonight. Like, what does the script say?
Kinda.
About the, like, who, oh, are you taking the big shot? Am I taking the big shot? But they all embraced it. Whoever was hot that night, they were able to ride that kind of wave. So will the Bucks be able to do that this playoff season? And your stats really did for me last night. I knew they had a great record. I knew they looked fantastic. Those stats are pretty remarkable.
One second, because I looked at the record and was like, all right, so they're on pace for X. What does this mean? And then I just pulled up, like you can go to NBA and get theirs, or Basketball Reference. There's a few others. And you just start going through the weeds of all the different stats.
Right.
And start sorting through. And then you can do like on-offs. Like here's one. So the starting unit of Giannis Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, Wes Matthews, Chris Middleton, right? Their offensive rating is 108.9. Their defensive rating is 90.9. So their net, the difference between the two is 18, which is historic.
Right.
Historic. Then their most common bench unit, like that runs out their garbage time, but when the starters are off, so the guys that have played the most as second units is Kyle Korver, Ersan Ilyasova, Robin Lopez, Hill, and Connaughton. And they're a 110 offensive rating, a 97.9, which gives them a net rating of 12.7. When Giannis is off, doesn't matter the mix, on average, they're a 6.8 net rating, which would put them at 5th in the league. Even without Giannis, that puts them, the net rating is 5th in the league. That displaces the Pacers, or not the Pacers, but pardon me, the Clippers by 0.9 points.
That's, but
it's
again,
sick.
Those are glossy numbers, particularly with Giannis off the court.
Yeah.
How much fruit does that bear in the play?
Exactly.
Is Pat
Playoffs
Connaughton
going
to be is he going to hit the big shot?
I like Connaughton
in the playoffs.
I like
of course you do, because he's you.
Well, okay. But
he's us. It's that's us playing in the NBA.
I'd like to believe I'm more Joe Ingles. Looks like a math teacher and somehow makes a shot.
We're all rapidly turning. Who's the guy from the Lakers who's getting all the All-Star?
Alex Caruso.
We're all turning into Alex Caruso.
Whether
we like it or not.
Have you seen his new headband? Well, he does a headband, but now when he dunks, he does a little headband celebration back to the bench, and they all do it back to him.
I like that.
Yeah, well, it helps cover up his receding hairline.
I think it looks a lot better on a headband on balding white guys.
Headband on white guy, you can just stop the sentence there.
Yeah, I think that you either have to go full Andre Agassi with just wear an actual wig every time you play, or just do what Caruso's and just embrace your gym teacher look.
I would say fully shave it because it looks more sad in the receding widow's peak. Yeah, just full shave it.
What if he did a comb over just for fun? Like he just grew out like
that would be awesome. And then he's just dunking, he's just yamming on guys.
Give me the Kornheiser 2.0 comb over. Give me the Gene Katie Purdue.
Oh, great call. But it just looks like it's been plastered onto the top of his head. It's got a sheen that is unnatural with any hair.
It looks like Charles Schultz drew it. Like it's just that's the greatest come over of all time. Alex Caruso, get on that for next year.
That would be good.
Yeah.
And then just see him physically just dominate a dude every once in a while with that ridiculous hair.
Flexing with that comb over, man.
Yeah. But once you get into the weeds of all these Bucks things, it's like, yes, will it translate into the playoffs? That is always the question. But right now, they're on a historic level.
So if they were to, if the playoffs were to start today, and I hesitate to do it this early in the season, but if they were, you're looking at either the Magic or the Nets in the first round. And all I see in either one of those teams is confidence for the other Bucks to get your playoff reps in.
Oh, yeah.
To feel really good about whoever you might meet, whether it would be Toronto or probably Philadelphia in the second round, and then that would shape up to a Bucks-Celtics finals. But somebody has to actually show up and beat the Miami Heat in order for that to happen. And I don't know that the Celtics would be up to that challenge as of right now.
We'll see, because they are also – the Heat are relying on, Harrow and Nunn, two rooks. And can Bam Adebayo – keep this amazing run that he's got so far this season? It's like it's a lot of young guys who look great,
right,
but it's also an 82-game season, and it's a lot to ask from the transition from college to the pros to do a full year to understand what this is an actual job.
The guy I'm really excited to see in the playoffs and for the Eastern Conference is Kemba. On a team that has a legitimate shot, I'll say a legitimate shot. I want to see Kemba go off on a team because he's just got such a good. He's so smart and he's so competitive, but he funnels it in the right way that's very team oriented. I love watching that dude distribute amongst his team, but also be able to put a team on his back without seeming like he's Kobe in his last game. You know? I really love watching that dude play.
And it's, it'll be good to see him in the playoffs on a team that actually can win, as opposed to, hey, it's, congratulations, little brother, little pat on the back, you made the playoffs.
They cut away to Jordan every other bucket, just sitting there.
Well, my favorite is when, I think it was during the Heat run, and LeBron goes for, I think it was in the playoffs, but goes for a dunk, and he's just looking at Jordan as he's dunking it. He's flying through the air, and he's just looking at Jordan, and he just throws it down so hard. That was Kemba's teams. Congratulations, you made it in. You're going to get swept in four.
Yeah.
And that's got to be disheartening.
How dare you look right at Mike when you're dunking LeBron?
Yeah, if you're going to sit courtside.
How dare you?
Listen, as a Jordan fan, I loved everything about that. It's just like, if you really want to be considered the best.
I applaud what you're doing. And, if I'm an NBA player, every time I step on the court and Mike's in the arena, I want to know where Mike is. Not because I want to stare and gloat at him, just because I want to know where Mike is. Exactly. I want to know where Mike is.
Have some incredible play and just little sneak a glance.
I have that I make, I'm just peripheral vision. I just want to see, is Mike looking at his phone? Did he see that I made something?
I would do it too.
Did you see that Mark Connaughton had a dunk?
Just running down past him sometimes I dream, just as I go to shoot, that he is me.
Got to see, that's how I dream to be. Not the Gator load, Mike.
I can't believe I didn't know there was Gator load.
I can't believe I didn't know this story.
What a terrible name.
It was Gator Load, and I don't even know if it was from the makers of Gatorade, but it was Gator Load LODE.
Okay.
Not like a gator shooting its load.
I know,
per
but
se.
At the same time,
which is probably also carb rich, but it was LODE.
I would imagine it's more protein rich than. But what do I know? I don't know the logistics of that. I don't know the chemical breakdown. And
Mark Fernandez goes to the Everglades.
We'll ask him once we finish here. Not a problem, guys. Stay tuned for part 2. Once the show ends, is the actual show. And you can get that at Patreon from Ellis, too. That'll be part of the updates.
Hey, Mark, we have one NBA question for you.
Yeah.
How much protein is in Gator chips?
Well, protein versus carbs. What is the higher ratio?
Yeah, what's the pyramid? What's the pie chart on that?
Exactly.
I had something that I had something booked that I had to go do after this. And it got canceled, and I'm just so happy it got canceled because I just want to laugh about Gator jizz with my friend Matt and then go.
Well, the nice thing is Mark should be back in the office by the time we finish. So if we really want to have this conversation, it can be done.
We got to figure out the right way to phrase it, where it sounds like we're really investigative, like it's an NBA question.
Well, we're two sons of doctors. I think we can put our brains together and come up with something that sounds relatively
I don't know,
official.
This apple fell very far from the tree.
Oh.
You don't want Dr. Mark and Dr. Matt analyzing.
No. Did I used to have a bit about this. Did your friends ever come to you for medical advice?
Yes.
Okay.
They still do. And look, to be perfectly fair, I think you and I might know a little bit more than the average bear.
Okay. Maybe a 0.5% more. It's not like he came home every day and was like, oh, well, this is connected to this.
It's less diagnosis kind of stuff, or it's like if you have a friend in the hospital, I bet you and I know how to get to that room faster than anybody else because hospitals are like mazes.
Yeah, but it's all set up the same.
Right. We know the flaws in the healthcare system. I'll be on next week's Dropping Dimes.
Yeah, exactly. There's only once where me being around it actually helped, and it wasn't even a friend. It was in college, and somebody drank too much, and it was like they clearly have alcohol poisoning.
Right.
We need to get them to the hospital, and everybody else was like, I don't know. And they took them to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, you have alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was obvious, guys.
See, in my college experience, that was me diagnosing myself.
No, I watched this person fall into a state that was like they need medical help.
Yeah, right.
It was freshman year, and just like they were one of those individuals that never had any freedom, and now they have too much freedom.
Yeah, and
got themselves kicked out of school.
Isn't it funny how everybody can just be sitting around drinking and even like doing shots and stuff and having a good time, and then there's that one person that just it sobers everybody else up.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, oh, God, somebody's got to drive this person to wherever the student health facility is or to the nearest ER because all of a sudden I don't feel my buzz anymore because this person's about to die.
Yeah.
So take care of your own kids. Don't drink Gator jizz.
All right, we got to wrap up. I think the better of the two, if we can get to them, the better of the two would be the Shaq
I
one.
can go quick if you want.
Nah, we'll spend enough time on that one, and if we got time left over, we'll go to the other one.
Oh, the 2-on-2?
No, I say the 2-on-2 next. I think that's the
Let's
funner.
do 2-on-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Shaq said yesterday that him and Kobe in their prime could take on LeBron and AD and beat them 2-on-2. And my first question to you is, who do you choose?
My gut instinct is Shaq and Kobe.
Okay.
And I say that because everybody's competitive in the NBA, Matt.
Sure.
Everybody really wants to win. Everybody trains hard. It's a year-round thing. That's what they're locked in on. Kobe Bryant took it to another level, as your boy Mike did.
He taught.
And I think that Kobe is – I don't see that if that game – if we're playing to 11 ones and twos.
Sure.
If it's starting to get 8, 9-ish – I just don't see Kobe, maybe even relinquishing control of the ball to Shaq. I don't see Kobe losing that game.
I'm with you. Like, it comes down to, okay, to me, can AD stop Shaq?
Mm-hmm.
No. Shaq was...
Who gets hurt first? It's got to be AD.
It's got to be AD.
Yeah.
It's got to be AD.
Yeah.
There's no way. He goes up the block, and Shaq just takes one of those ham hock arms and just shoves him right out of the way.
Yeah.
Kobe has a tougher job in shutting down LeBron, and you can't. You're not going to shut him down. You might be able to slow him down, and
defensively,
vice versa.
LeBron on Kobe is the most intriguing matchup.
And vice versa.
2-on-2 to me.
Between those two, that to me is the linchpin of how this goes. And I think because I think Shaq would dominate AD, just sheer size of the man and his agility and athleticism and everything like that. Now, AD can't shoot threes, and he could pull Shaq out away from the rim type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Shaq, back in the lake, I mean, people forget about Shaq now in just how physically gifted he was. That they know him as this incredibly dominant force, and then he's, having fun with Ernie and Kenny and Chuck. Because people forget about how great Barkley was, too, because you just see them as like these
old men.
Muppet judges. But Shaq, before he was doing commercials with the General, he was a force of nature and could move super quick.
Look,
for any big man.
A lot of people now, if they're just watching now and they look back and they see Shaq and be like, well, he was just big.
Yeah.
Be like, okay. There were other guys who were just big. Like, look at Greg Ostertag, who had to face off against Shaq a lot.
Kansas's finest. Yeah.
There is a big man who was big. That was his best attribute. Shaq was big, but he was nimble. He was agile. He could, there were a few times where we got clips of him running the floor as the point guard, so to speak, which is on a fast break type of thing. It's just he has all these intangibles. I mean, if you go back and watch old games of his, he gets fouled on every play.
Every play.
Every play.
And to have that kind of durability, even with all of the contact that he had to absorb, I assume that we're calling our own fouls here. So we're probably not calling a lot of stuff, but the little inside this game, what I'm looking for is the rebounding. If AD is taking Shaq away from the rim and AD is trying to shoot over Shaq from the outside, perhaps, I've always looked at rebounding from the Dennis Rodman mantra, which is it's about effort, it's about hustle more than it is about size or anything else like that. And Kobe has effort that is second to none. So if AD is off, even though LeBron is bigger and could probably get position on Kobe sometimes, I see Kobe coming up with just as many rebounds as LeBron, which is another reason why I think that give me AD can hit his first shot, his second shot. Can AD make the shot to win the game, or is he going to brick it? Is Kobe going to get the rebound and never give the ball up again?
Yeah, that's why I think this is so much fun going back and forth. I'd love to hear the argument to where LeBron and AD could do it. And it's a valid argument. I'm not saying that's so 100% one-sided. I just think that the scales are tipped a little bit more in Shaq and Kobe's favor.
Yeah.
To make it super interesting to sit here and go, God, who would win? Do I like X or Y?
Is there any crowd in any city in the United States or in the world that would be rooting for LeBron and AD over Kobe and Shaq? I just think for the nostalgia factor, I think seeing Kobe and Shaq, I think that would get the crowd.
Wow. Kobe still has a stranglehold on Laker fans. I mean, they're a subset of Laker fans that are Kobe fans first and then Laker fans second.
As we saw when LeBron got announced to come.
Exactly. People were like, he's no Kobe. And you're like...
Subset's a little bigger than we thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because it's a subset doesn't mean it's small.
Right.
So I don't know. That's interesting because we're assuming they all have their Lakers gear on. So does the Cleveland then come out, or Akron, I guess, comes out in support of LeBron? But
this really does beg the question then. So if they win this match, and let's say if the parameters are you're playing 2-on-2, and it's got to be any two players from any team that played at the same time as each other.
Yeah.
Who would Shaq and Kobe face if they beat LeBron and AD?
Well, you can go through Lakers history. So I sent you some of them because you could have like a Magic and Kareem.
Oh, this is good. I didn't see. Yeah.
Yeah, below that, but you can go further too, and you could say Chamberlain and Jerry West. Like, okay, who are you taking?
Yeah, Chamberlain, Jerry West. You again talk about that maniacal competitiveness.
Exactly. Although Kobe, given his height and athleticism, should dominate West, but I don't know. Chamberlain was a freak by all accounts, and he would, I think, thrive in today's game.
Yeah,
that would be super interesting. I think I still wait towards Shaq and Kobe.
Shaq was a freak on another level.
Yeah.
From Wilt, athletically speaking.
Okay.
So I think Shaq dominates that matchup a little more than Kobe. West could get hot though. West could get really hot.
And then the Magic Kareem. So you got to take them when they were teammates, and Kareem was on the tail end. So I think that's. But if you
let's be honest though, Kareem could be the star of this whole 2-on-2 tournament.
It could be. The skyhook is unstoppable. It's unstoppable.
2-on-2, you may never see the ball offensively if you're playing against them.
But if you were to cherry pick and be like, all right, Kareem at his best and Magic at his best, wow, okay,
yeah, that's pretty
lethal.
Because as we know, Magic can bust out that hook shot too.
He can
when he has to.
And I think Kareem is blocking Shaq just given his length, and so would Chamberlain. Chamberlain was a block machine.
I love the one you have down here with Harden and Westbrook playing. Harden and Westbrook would be the teammates that would blow up at each other, like the white man can't jump. He starts yelling.
For that one, I got Harden, Westbrook. All right, fine. Versus
Olajuwon and Drexler is interesting.
Yeah, Drexler or Barkley. They were all teammates roughly about the same time.
Yeah. I noticed you don't have Duncan and Manu on here.
Against who on the current Spurs lineup?
Oh, well, that's a great question.
DeRozan and Lamar, because I was going through
DeRozan and Aldridge. Yeah, then you take Timmy and you take
because Shaq plugged two current. I tried to go with current and then like the Celtics. Like, okay, well, I don't think there's a tandem on that team that's going to take out any of the other tandems.
So you're playing for the rights to wear your uniform ad infinitum. So that's why the Bulls aren't even on here because Jordan and Pippen are going to be
exactly. Yeah, that's why I had to go through and be like, all right, and then you start going through the cool tandems and whatnot, and be like, yeah, but the historicals would destroy them. I don't think that's much of an argument, type of thing. Whereas, like, all right, Dirk and Nash versus Luka and Porzingis.
Yeah, okay.
That's tough.
Ooh, that's good.
That's tough.
Because Luka's so good.
He is. I take Luka over Nash, even though Nash is a two-time. But
he's a baby. He's like Baby Yoda out there.
2 years in. Not even.
What is he, 20? Can he drink?
No.
In the United States
yet? He cannot drink in the United States yet.
Oh, my gosh.
He's so good. And Nash is a two-time.
He'll never have to pay for a drink in Dallas.
No, he won't.
He's just got such an exciting game that but Dirk's that old man on the playground that just has that shot.
Yeah, no,
kind of like Duncan would be. Sure. Where it's just I have this shot and you're not going to stop it because I'm too tall and I'll be home by lunch.
Yeah, I take Dirk over Porzingis, but I think the Nash Luka is a very interesting discussion. Even though Nash is a two-time MVP and Luka's only a year and a half into his career,
Luka's just so creative.
He already looks like he had a Euro step between two dudes that was so impressive, and I can't believe I've never seen it before. I can find that clip and send it to you too.
If you're on a playground anywhere in America, and I don't care if there's NBA players on the playground, if Luka and Manu walk up to that playground, you're going to see stuff you're not prepared to defend against.
Yeah,
it's just from a different land, Matt.
I miss Manu.
It's just so much fun because again he's a league pass kind of player.
He is without a doubt.
And anytime anybody said the Spurs are boring, I would be like, okay, well first of all, I don't find winning all that boring. But second of all, Manu Ginobili any given night is going to do something remarkable that you did not know was physically possible on an NBA court.
Dude, you saw him more than one occasion throw a corner to corner from the 3-point. So to pass to a teammate that actually had like English in the air and arced around.
Right.
I saw him do that more than once with his left hand and just whip it. And you're like, I don't even know how you did that. That was in the air and it had like whatever. It's like throwing a curveball. And you knew that the wind resistance would arc it back around.
And the whole time proudly representing a bald spot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Never shied away from it.
Doing it for all of us. Okay, so here's my dream 2-on-2 matchup then. And we're playing for the right to represent the Hornets.
Okay.
Okay? So, I'm going to give you Hornets/Pelicans.
Okay.
So, if you could take Lonzo and Zion.
Sure.
Okay? Give them a season or two to figure things out, how they work with each other, versus any combination of Zoe, Grandmama, or Muggsy.
I take the Zoe, whatever, because I know what they are as of right now. Right now, I don't know what Lonzo and Zion are going to be long term. Whereas, Grandmama and Zoe,
you're gonna do them and then have Muggsy on the bench. Have Muggsy be the hype man.
Well, I don't know who's going to handle the ball if it's Grandmama and Zoe.
Well, Larry can handle a little bit.
Kind of.
UNLV can handle.
I think
he can handle.
To the degree of a point guard or a shooting guard?
No, and like we talked about earlier in the show when we were actually talking about NBA basketball, Lonzo, I've always thought that he has a great build and athletically he can be a great defender.
Yeah.
And I think that's playing itself out even more so this season. I think defensively, Grandmama would have his hands pretty tied by Lonzo, but Larry Johnson steps up, big games, big moments in the Eastern Conference. He can do it. Zoe, very athletically gifted. Him and Zion would be fun, but I think Larry could rough Zion up a little bit too.
What about Lowry and DeRozan or Lowry and Siakam?
Lowry and DeRozan.
And if you want to go historical, I think that would win T-Mac and VC. I don't think that's fair.
No, I think T-Mac and VC.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That's why I didn't include it.
That Cousins DNA. I do like DeRozan a lot.
Do you?
I like.
As a Spurs fan, it's not so shocking.
Even before he was a Spurs fan, I like his willingness to take the big shot. He doesn't shy away from the big moment. And Siakam, I think he's a great role player, but if it's 2-on-2, I kind of like DeRozan and Lowry, their ability to score.
Yeah, I just think that one is so. Right now, it's so even though you got this full track record from DeRozan, what he can get from you. But Lowry, Siakam's ceiling keeps getting higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, it's like you struck oil, you know?
Yeah. It's. I mean, 2 seasons ago, he was averaging like 9 points.
Right.
And now he's averaging mid-20s.
Okay.
It's kind of bananas.
Okay.
And he could keep going up. And he's got a 3-point shot now. And the only thing that he sucks at is when he goes up against a defender that is as athletic but is bigger than him. So he's not good against Giannis. He's not good against Embiid. He's not good against, all his spin moves and everything else aren't as effective, so it reduces a lot of his efficiency when he gets down near the rim. But outside of those anomalous humans, Pascal Siakam can dominate. And I think given the fact that he's progressed so much in 2 seasons, I think in two more seasons, that won't be an issue anymore, and he'll be able to go against Giannis more consistently and Embiid and all those guys.
So he might be the breakout star of our 2-on-2 tournament.
He could be.
Okay, last dream scenario I'm going to give you, and then we can do whatever else business we need to do. Pistons, all time. I'll give you Isaiah and then whoever else you want from the Bad Boys era. And then do you do Billups and Ben Wallace or maybe Rasheed
Wallace? Yeah, but Wallace gives you no offense.
No offense. Rasheed gives you some.
But he...
so maybe Billups and Rasheed.
Yeah, or maybe you just go small ball and go like Billups and Tayshaun.
You might have to.
Or Rip.
Because you could do Rip and Billups versus maybe Dumars and Isaiah. I mean, I think Isaiah is dominating that tournament. Do not forget.
Zeke will dominate Billups.
Zeke will dominate Bill.
Yeah. But then I think I like Rip better than Dumars. I don't know. That's interesting.
Dumars was pretty scrappy.
Yeah, he was. But he's a Hall of Famer.
But Rip just has that infuriating playground game where it's like nobody wants to be if you don't want to guard Rip because you know if you leave him for a second, he knows how to expose it, and he's making that shot every time. And
he's got a little bit more length on Dumars.
He does, yeah.
That's a good one, though. I like that one.
He's wearing that mask.
What about Melo and Billups versus Jokic and Murray.
Oh, you nuggeted Billups.
Well, because he did get traded.
He did. No, that's fair.
That was Melo's best year as a Nugget, I believe.
I still might take Jokic and Murray.
Okay. I think I take them too.
They're a fun combination.
Murray's the question mark. Jokic, I know what I'm getting, and I don't think Melo or Billups could shut down Jokic.
No, I don't think Melo wants any part of guarding him.
No.
I don't think Melo...
Well, as evidenced by the fact that Melo doesn't really want to play defense in general. So
guy's got to play. It's nice to see him back.
Isn't it? He had a game winner.
I saw. Yeah, it's nice.
Now I think he is all-time most game winners, like late in just regular season, but like that where games on the line.
Is he? Wow.
I think he just passed Kobe by one.
Wow.
He's always been. That's one of his strongest suits. Yeah. He can shoot that ball late, and he's got all the confidence in the world. There's a great side-by-side video of him doing the exact same thing when he's on the Nuggets against the Blazers from a foot to the left. Just boom, right in their eye, game over.
Yeah, Carmelo does have a game custom-made for 2-on-2.
He does. You know? He does. That little ISO, and just I can jab, step, like wait for my guy to do something. But okay, boom, just shoot this from here.
And I feel like if you wanted to get nitpicky, I feel like Jokic would have a lot of fouls called on him. If you want to get like now, depending on which playground you're on, there might be a fracas that breaks out due to your calling a foul on Jokic, but he's just such a big body that stuff's going to get hit.
It's tough.
Wrists are going to get hit, but if we're playing normal playground rules, no blood, no foul, I'm taking Jokic and Murray.
Okay, I mean I like Billups over Murray, just because got the track record of Billups. You know, he's a Finals MVP.
He can hit a big shot.
He can, and he's smart as can be. Like there's a reason he's been rumored with front office jobs and everything else. Yeah, he knows the game and can see it. But it comes down to that Melo. But will Melo torch Jokic because Jokic doesn't really want to play defense all that much either, and you have to run around chasing Melo.
Yeah,
could be super. That one's pretty close. I still give a slight edge just because of Jokic's size and the fact that he can shoot from pretty much anywhere. And he's got good court vision and passes well, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that one's pretty close to me.
See, I'm thinking about your stewardship of dropping dimes. I would most accurately compare to Chauncey Billups running a point. I think you're the Chauncey Billups of NBA podcasts.
So what is that? Do you want to be sheed? Is that what you're saying? Just cut the check as you walk out of here and go talk about alligator spooge with Fernandez.
Who else on the Pistons would I be? I'm not Ben Wallace. Who else would I be? I would be
Tayshaun Rip. I can't.
I can shoot. I could be Rip. I'm definitely not Tayshaun. Nobody's ever gonna. I'll be your Rip Hamilton.
Okay.
I don't know that I show up often enough to be your Rip, but I'll come in with the face mask next time if you want.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We'll make that happen. We can close right there because we're at an hour right now.
Okay. We'll keep y'all posted on the Gator Jizz.
Yeah, that will be part of the health updates from Ellis. You can get that there too. That'll be part of the Gator Jizz fun facts that you get once a day for the month of January.
That's going to be the Outlaw Nation $100 Patreon tier. Is Matt and Mark weighing in on Gator Jizz protein versus carbs?
Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
You can check out Dog Stepfather streaming wherever you like to stream stuff. Got New York City coming up. We're doing a schmo down there. Then I'm doing a stand-up date there. Got some stand-up in Atlanta. All the dates and times and all that good stuff at markellislive.net.
.net.
.net.
You lost the .com?
Because .com is a thing of the past, Matt.
Really?
It's a thing of the past.
Why is that?
Because the net is the future. It's a basketball podcast.
Perfect.
We're talking nets.
I like that I ask you a question, you just give me a circular answer over and over and over again. It's all about net.
That's what I've been doing for the last hour.
It's all about net. Let's see how net does in the playoffs. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Larry? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Please follow Mark online anywhere that you can. Make sure to check out a special. It's excellent.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your live patronage.
Not a problem.
Two-set special.
I was happy to be there.
Yeah. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, you too. It's been a little while. I hope things have been well.
Let's go. Next time we both have sets, let's go. Let's take a picture by our trophies. The Comedy Store.
Not a problem. Is it still up at the front bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
That won't be sad at all, right? If we take pictures from our rec league championship.
I got to take the fantasy football trophy back over there. I got to put the new nameplate on there. Teebs won.
That's right. I made the playoffs.
Made the playoffs.
That's all you can ask for in a fantasy season.
Well, no. All you can ask for is winning the damn thing.
I want to make the playoffs. I want to be in the conversation.
Yeah. I was happy. I lost to Teebs in our round by .85. Otherwise, I would have been in the finals.
Oof.
But he led the entire league, the entire season. And to me, it's just like, you deserve to win. You should win. I don't mind losing if it's to the guy that has been crushing us the whole season.
His points scored was
it's 200 points
far
more
and
than.
away.
Well, because he had Derrick Henry plus Lamar.
And I beat Teebs, I think the second to last week of the regular season, or maybe the last week of the regular season, to get into the playoffs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or to solidify my tiebreaker with all the other teams that were 8 and 5 or whatever we were. But I remember beating Teebs and then going and seeing how many more points he scored than everybody else in the league, and I'm like, geez, I had the day of days.
Yeah, he beat me for the first time ever. He beat me both times this year.
Yeah,
that's never happened.
And you put in 9 hours a day at the NFL Network. You know?
Exactly. You have red zone in it. You know all the ins and outs. You should be a little bit better than the rest of us.
Spy for Andrew Siciliano.
Yeah, well, maybe he's always looking for a side hustle. That could be out there. Well, that's it for Dropping Dimes this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, bud.
I hope you had a great holidays and many blessings in the 2020 upcoming year.
I would love to come back soon.
Not a problem.
And talk more 2-on-2 dream matchups. All 60s.
We'll see if this show is going to be around. I have no idea. Tentatively, for the time being, we are coming to you on the podcast feed, and we are locked in at least for a little while. But I don't know. I will gladly have you back on.
Is this a Paul George in Indiana?
No. Well, this is a the waters. It's still kind of the waves. It hasn't fully settled here. Mm-hmm. And this show didn't make the cut. Thanks to all of you out there that have been loyal listeners and devotees of the show. I thoroughly appreciate it. Please, if you want to continue to see the show, then make sure you download it or leave a like and a comment on YouTube or share it on social media. Whatever you can do is thoroughly appreciated. That keeps the show alive here over at the Collider podcast feed. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Knost, MATTKNOST. That is it for Dropping Times this week, and I will check in with you guys next week. Enjoy your NBA action, and until then, adios.